Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for Loving Kindness Meditation. I hope that the Loving Kindness Meditation held every week on Wednesday night will bring you happiness, peace, relaxation, and comfort. Now, we are in the 7th month of the lunar calendar, and this is where the Hungry Ghost Festival is observed on the 15th night of the 7th month. Beings born as Petas are known as hungry ghosts, and they are characterized by a deep sense of wanting and where their needs and desires are not fulfilled. Isn't it terrible for beings to have so much wants and desires, and they just could not get these desires fulfilled? And how does a person land up in the hungry ghost world? Well, some of them could have been born as human beings in the past, but the problem is that they have not done enough meritorious deeds to be reborn in a happy world. And some of the things that could have arisen is because they could be very stingy. They're not prepared to perform generous acts like giving dana or donating for the poor and needy. And they also have a very strong sense of clinging to the wealth and possessions such as property, house, clothes, jewelry, and they can't let go of these attachments when they die. Hence, because of the strong attachments, they are reborn as hungry ghosts, and in this state they can remain trapped for a long time. The nature of the hungry ghosts is that they might have a huge body, but the throat is very small, like a hole of a needle. So even when they see food, they could hardly consume the food that will satisfy their hunger. And sometimes the food will burst into flames, so it becomes impossible for them to eat. And they will also eat dirty things. So this is the nature of hungry ghost. Last week, I explained that the Hungry Ghost Festival has its basis on the basis is on the Sanskrit Ulambana Sutta, and this was in Sanskrit that was later translated into Chinese, and you would see that in the Mahayana or the Sanskrit tradition, they have ceremonies of Ulambana. The sutra tells about how Moggallana saved his mother from the world of hungry ghosts by transferring merits to her after offering food to the Buddha and the monks. So as a result of the transference of merits, the mother was freed from the hungry ghost world. A similar story is also found in the Pali Petavatu. Yeah, it is a collection which is called Petavatu. And in this story, Sariputta made offerings to the Buddha and Sangha in order to save his mother from a previous birth from the Petra world. So how can merits be transferred to departed relatives? And this process is explained in the Tirokudda Sutta. So this evening I'll say something about the Tirokudda Sutta and the story connected to the Tirokudda Sutta. Now, the occasion for the teaching of the Tirokudda Sutta was because King Bimbisara, in his sleep, heard screams. Yeah, it's terrible screams in his sleep. It's like a nightmare. And these screams he heard after he had offered the bamboo grove and offered food to the Buddha, when the Buddha visited Rajagaha for the first time after enlightenment. Now, we would assume that offering the bamboo grove and food to the Buddha was a highly meritorious deed. So if that is the case, why did King Bimbisara had this terrible nightmare of scares, of cries and groans that night? The Buddha explained to King Bimbisara that the terrible cries he heard were the cries from his previous relatives in a distant past birth. Now, since the king has performed a highly meritorious action, but he had at the same time overlooked sharing of merits with his previous relatives, because when the king was giving food to the Buddha and the other monks, the king's mind was on other things, and therefore his previous relatives who were in the state of the hungry ghost, they did not get released from that state. And therefore that night, they cried and groaned in order to draw the king's attention for help. It's rather frightening, isn't it, to have terrible screams in your nightmare. So the story was, the Buddha explained to King Bimbisara that in one of his previous births, in the distant past, King Bimbisara was a prime minister of a kingdom. And in that kingdom, the king's name was Jayasena. And the king happened to have a son who became enlightened, and his name was Buddhapussa. So King Jayasena had a son who is Buddhapussa. Obviously, the king was very happy about having a son as a Buddha, but he wanted to have the exclusive privilege of attending to the Buddha and the community of Sangha. So what he did was he built bamboo walls on both sides of the road that led from the monastery to the palace. So the Buddhapussa could walk down this path and come straight to the palace in order to get his alms food. While these arrangements seems to be very suitable for the king, because he was able to offer alms food to the Buddhapussa, many people were unhappy because with these bamboo fans, they were not able to make offerings to the Buddha. Now, Buddhapussa had 3 other brothers who were also princes, of course, and they helped the king to put down a rebellion in a remote province. Now, as a reward to the 3 princes, the king granted them the royal permission to attend to the Buddha for 3 months. So the 3 brothers, the 3 princes, had the exclusive right to make offerings to the Buddha during the rain season. So after receiving the king's permission, the 3 princes were very happy, and they approached Buddhapussa and invited him to stay in their rural district for the whole 3 months of the rains retreat, and the Buddha accepted this invitation. So upon this acceptance by the Buddha, the 3 princes sent out a message to the prime minister to organize and to prepare the hosting of Buddhapussa and the monks in their rural district. So under the direction of the chief minister, monasteries and other facilities were constructed, and the chief minister have arranged 2,500 attendants to serve the Sangha with the requisites. So during the 3 months, the 3 princes, the chief minister, they also had 1,000 soldiers, 2,500 attendants. They stayed at the monastery and observed the precepts, listened to the sermon, and performed their duties to the Sangha. So these were 3 months of during the rains retreat looking at the Buddha. So many people were very happy to serve the Buddha and his Sangha. But apparently some of the relatives of the chief minister were not happy. So instead of helping with the alms offering and all that, they created a lot of obstacles for others to make offerings. They create disturbances during the alms gathering, so it becomes a big nuisance to the other people. And the food that was prepared for the monks, these relatives took away the food in order to feed their own children. And the pavilions, which was used for food distribution, they set the pavilions on fire. So these are really a nasty group of people, relatives of the chief minister. So what happened? Now, for the king and the princes and the chief ministers who attended to the Buddha, they performed a lot of meritorious, and they were reborn in the same heaven when they passed away. So very nice. They were all they landed up in the same heaven when they passed away. Now, what happened to the chief minister's wicked relatives? Unfortunately for them, they were born in hell. Niraya, they were born in hell. And the wicked relatives of the chief minister were reborn in one hell after another, and eventually they were reborn in the Peta world, in the hungry ghost world. Okay, now from Buddhapussa to Buddha Kashyapa, there are many Buddhas in the past. Okay, during the time of Buddha Kashyapa, some of the relatives of the prime minister who were in the Peta world, they gained released because they had former relatives that had shared merits to them. So they had relatives who performed meritorious deeds, and they shared these merits with the relatives in the Petra world. So some of these relatives from the Petra world were released, they gained release. And as a result of this, they gain happy rebirth in happy states where they gain happiness and well-being. However, not all the Petras, not all the relatives that were born in the Petra world gain released. And they asked Buddha Kashyapa, when would be the time when they can get released and enjoy happiness? And Buddha Kashyapa said to them, "O Petras, your time has not come yet. You will have to wait for the appearance of Gautama Buddha. At that time, there will be a king named Bimbisara, who had been the chief minister and your past relatives. King Bimbisara will make a great offering to Buddha Gautama, and he will share merits with you, and only then can you gain release." So upon hearing this, Petras were all filled with anticipation. Being born in this Peta world is a lot of suffering, waiting and longing and unfulfilled desires. So they have to wait for a long time from the era of Buddha Kashyapa to Buddha Gautama. Now things begin to square up. When King Bimbisara, who had been in the previous birth the chief minister, when he offered the Buddha and the Sangha a royal meal as well as the bamboo grove, his relatives who were in the hungry ghost will stoop around thinking, "Oh, our former relative King Bimbisara will share his merits with us after his meritorious deeds." But unfortunately, this did not happen, because after performing merit making, King Bimbisara was just preoccupied with the thought. He was thinking, well, after making the offering, instead of rejoicing in sharing merits, he was thinking, "Oh, how would the Buddha and 1,000 monks live, reside? I have offered this bamboo garden. I have not constructed any shelter for them. How are they going to reside?" So the king was thinking about looking after the shelter of the Buddha and the monks. And after performing the merit making, he has actually forgotten, or he's overlooked sharing of merits with his previous relatives. So as a result, the king did not share his merits, and the Petras were all disappointed naturally. You can imagine that after waiting for a very, very long time, and just when King Bimbisara, their relatives of a previous birth had performed such great merit, they were still not released because King Bimbisara forgot to share his merits with them. So what happened? So that night, when the king was sleeping, they appeared in his dream by giving terrible cries and groans, and the king was frightened and alarmed. When you sleep in your nightmare, you have all these cries and shouts, horrible sound. So next day, he went to the Buddha to report on the terrible sounds and noises that he heard that night, wondering what is going to happen to him. How come all these noises that's coming in? So the Buddha explained to King Bimbisara. He says, those noises have been made by your relatives in your previous births, but they're now Petras, they're now hungry ghosts. They've been wandering around, waiting to receive a really big merit that you performed yesterday. But they didn't come because you didn't share merits with them. So they were dismayed and very disappointed. So when King Bimbisara heard this, okay. Then, in which case, he invited the Buddha for a big act of charity, which he would like to share with his previous relatives. So King Bimbisara went back to his palace and arranged for the offering of a magnificent dana for the Buddha and the monks. And all the Petras, who were the king's former relatives, went to the palace saying, today we're going to receive the sharing of merits. But they stood outside the palace walls. They were not invited yet. So they stood outside the palace walls. And while making the offering to the Buddha enabled King Bimbisara to see the Petras who were his previous relatives. He said, there's so many of them, all the Petras hanging around. So when the king poured water into the hands of the Buddha at the start of the offering ceremony and said, "Idang me nyati nang hotu," may these merits done by pouring the clear water be for the well-being of my relatives. So at the time when he's pouring water on pouring water at the start of the offering ceremony. At that moment, ponds with 5 types of lotuses suddenly appeared, you know. So there were ponds and 5 types of lotuses. And his relatives, who are the hungry ghosts, started drinking the water from the ponds, and they took bath in them. And that actually freed them from the misery, from the worries, from the thirst and tiredness, you know. So just pouring the water, making offerings, idang me nyati nang hotu dana that is performed, be for the well-being of my relatives. Suddenly the lotuses appeared, ponds appeared, and the relatives bathed in this water of ponds, took bath in them, and they were freed from their miseries and worry. And then it was the time for the king to offer the food to the Buddha and the monks. And he said that this was done for the benefit of his former relatives. So when he offered the food to the Buddha and the monks, divine food started appearing. And the Pitas were able to eat them. And after eating this food, their physical appearance changed. They begin to look healthy with golden complexion. And all the senses were intact. They have eyes, nose, ears, mouth, limbs. They become complete with their senses as well as their limbs and all that. And then the king offered robes and sleeping and dwelling places, you know, accommodation to the community. And the Petas receive beautiful clothes and houses to stay. So King Bimbisara, while making these offerings, was able to see what was happening. And he was overjoyed that his former relatives are now becoming transformed, now have golden complexion and now have clothes and accommodation and food, and they look good after eating the divine food. So King Bimbisara was obviously overjoyed. And after finishing the meal, the Buddha blessed King Bimbisara and gave the discourse on Tirokudda Sutta. Right? Then the Buddha taught the Tirokudda Sutta. So this is the story behind the Tirokudda Sutta. Now, what does the Tirokudda Sutta say? That the discourse mentioned about our previous relatives of previous births, wandering around without food and shelter. Or our previous relatives. Some of them could be relatives of this birth as well, but born in the hungry ghost world. And when we make offerings in their memory, they will be able to consume the food and drinks. And when we think, oh, you know, my relative who has now passed away has given this to me, he has done such and such a thing for me. Now let me make these offerings and donations in their memory and honor. We reflect on their good deeds, on what they have done for us, and we make offerings in their honor, in their memory. And the sutra says just like rain has fallen on the mountains, the rain that has fallen on the mountains, the rain will flow down to the lower ground. In the same manner, the merits that we have performed and transferred to them will go to our previous relatives. Right? So at the end of the discourse, the people and other beings begin to realize the problem of being born in the Petra world. And they also receive the sense of urgency for religious practice. Yeah? That if we do not practice, we don't practice generosity, we are too stingy in this world, then the likelihood of being born as hungry ghosts becomes much greater. Yeah, so it gives us the motivation for religious practice. Now, the Tirokudda Sutta also teaches us to think of our departed relatives and transfer merits to them, because now we are in a position to perform merits. So we should perform merits and think of our previous relatives, because if they happen to be in the hungry ghost world, they will be able to receive the merits that we transfer to them. And this is very timely for us to remember, especially during the Hungry Ghost Festival. All right, so this is the story behind the Tirokudda Sutta and how we every time when we do some meritorious deeds, we do the transference of merits. All right, so now let us now proceed with our metta meditation. Metta meditation, by the way, is also the performance of merits. Huh? So at the end of metta meditation, we always share merits. And this time around, when we share merits, please think of your relatives who have passed away either in this birth or in some past births. If they're in a position to receive the merits, we share the merits with them. Okay. So when we perform metta meditation, we sit in a comfortable position. It is fine to sit on the floor, or even if you sit on the chair, that's okay as well. Ensure that your body is straight and your head is slightly balanced above your shoulders. Be aware of the flow of your breathing. And so feel comfortable. And when you begin to share loving kindness, just bring to your mind's eye the people that you like to share loving kindness. And I will guide you to do what to do during this meditation. Let me just sound the bell. Now slowly close your eyes and just be aware of your breathing in and breathing out. Take a few deep and conscious breaths in a relaxed fashion. And as your breath becomes deep and slow, you'll find that your mind begins to get softer. At this moment right now, just have a sense of contentment. There is nothing else that you require right now except to dedicate yourself to the practice of loving kindness. Now we will proceed with the practice of the inner smile. The smile is the inner smile is an healing practice. And if you have any issue with an organ of your body, you just put a smile and bless the organ with loving kindness. No need to put too much stress on it. Now let us be aware of the crown of your head. Try to feel the crown of your head, the top of your head, and bring your smiling energy to the crown of your head. Let your crown smile. Now be aware of your forehead. Can you feel your forehead? Now let the smiling energy be at your forehead. Now just be aware of the spot between your eyebrows. Bring your smiling energy to this spot. And let this spot between your eyebrows smile. Now just be aware of your eyes. Bring smiles to your eyes. Be aware of your cheeks. Bring smiles to your cheeks. And just be aware of your throat. Bring smile to your throat. At the base of your throat, at the base of your neck will be your thyroid gland. Just blast your thyroid gland with smiles. And now to your thymus gland. Your thymus gland is in your chest, between your lungs and behind your breastbone. Bring a smile to your thymus gland. This is the gland that is part of your immune system because it makes white blood corpuscles. And bring the smile to your heart. Open up and relax your heart, letting go of the tensions that are stored in your heart. From your heart, let the smile radiate out to your lungs and feel the lungs breathing easily. Gratitude to your heart and lungs for keeping you alive from day to day, from moment to moment. Now, from the heart, bring the smile down to your solar plexus. This is a nerve center in your body that seems to tighten up each time when you have negative emotions like fear, worries, tension. This is the part solar plexus will normally tense up. And that tense solar plexus is not really good for the organs that are connected to the solar plexus. So bring a smile to your solar plexus, relaxing yourself. And with a relaxed solar plexus, reach out to your liver, which is on your right side of the body, just below the ribs. Smile, bring a smile to your liver. Soften your liver with a smile, making a wish that may the liver be healthy and strong. Let the smiling energy go onto the left side of the body. You will have the spleen there, and the spleen will fight germs in the blood and controls the level of blood corpuscles. Bringing a smile to your spleen. Below the spleen is the pancreas. The pancreas also lies at the side of the stomach. It secretes bile, which will help you to digest your food and transform the sugar in your blood into energy. Smile at the pancreas. May the pancreas work for you, keep you well. May it function well, pancreas. And now moving to the back of your body, around the waist region, the two kidneys. Smile to your kidneys. And the kidneys that filters the blood and remove waste. And send your smile to your stomach and to your intestines. This is your digestive system. And they work with the other organs to absorb nutrition from your food and bring that to your body. Finally, send your smiling energy to your urinary tract. You like your urinary tract to be healthy, to be trouble-free, your bladder, and the prostate gland for males, and ovaries and uterus for females. Send your healing energy, your smiling energy to these organs. Now, in order to refine our mindfulness, let us be aware of our breath, positioning our attention just around your nostril area. As you breathe in and out, there'll be some sensations of the flow of breath. Just be aware of the sensation. Uh, if you can, you just be aware whether it is in breath or out breath. If it's still not very clear to you, then just be aware that there is a breath sensation. Don't worry about the in and out breath. You will be aware of this in and out breath when your mindfulness becomes clearer and sharper. So you watch your breath in a relaxed manner. We do not want you to over concentrate or to put too much energy, because that will tire you. So you watch your breath with a very relaxed mindfulness, relaxed awareness, like the way that you sit in the beach in the evening, enjoying the waves that it comes and go, just watching your breath. Now, if you like, in order to keep track on your watching, you could just count from 1 to 10. So when you have in and out breath, that's 1, in and out breath, that's 2. And you proceed that way until you reach number 10. And after that, you come back to number 1. No need to go beyond number 10, because then the counting becomes too complicated. We should take your attention away from your breath. So just watch your breath, and you might find that the counting is quite helpful for you to keep track. All right, so let's just watch the breath. Now let us watch the breath in another way. As you breathe in, you calm yourself, and as you breathe out, you smile in your heart and relax. Breathing in, you calm yourself, and breathing out, smiling in your heart and relax. Now we will proceed to our radiation of loving kindness. First, we send loving kindness to ourselves. The idea of this is to fill ourselves with love and kindness, so that we become the source of love and kindness that will later be radiated to other beings. In this practice, we make use of 4 wishes, and we use the same wishes for ourselves and then later on to others. So when you make these wishes, embrace yourself with love and kindness. Whisper to yourself the wishes and feel the loving wishes within. The first wish, you say that may my heart be peaceful and free. Think of how you would like to be protected and to be free from trouble, from inner and outer harm. May my heart be peaceful and free. The second wish is may my mind be happy. Think of being contented and complete. No more running after something, no more having a sense of deprivation or having a feeling of lack of something. May my mind be happy. The third wish is a wish for your body. May my body be healthy. Think about enjoying good health. And the fourth wish, may I be well and happy, having a sense of ease and well-being. All right, let's now have the first wish. May my heart be peaceful and free. Make this wish, this sincere wish, first to yourself. May my heart be peaceful and free. Second wish, may my mind be happy. Third wish, may my body be healthy. Fourth wish, may I be well and happy. May my heart be peaceful and free. May my mind be happy. May my body be healthy. May I be well and happy. Now let us send thoughts of loving kindness. We send our thoughts of loving kindness out. Let us send to the first group of people who have benefited us a lot in this life. Uh, they have given us love, kindness, taught us in so many ways. Here in this group, we like to think of our parents, our grandparents, our guardians, our teachers, our mentors, people who have actually made an important mark in your life. So you could have a mental image of these people in your mind, or recounting in your mind the good qualities that they have and the benefit that you have derived from their loving kindness. And when you send love and kindness, for instance, if you're sending to your mother, just think of your mother who is seated in front of you, and she's in a good mood, good state of mind, and you say to her, Mother, may your heart be peaceful and free. May your mind be happy. May your body be healthy. May you be well and happy. Out of gratitude and love, you make these loving wishes for her. In the same manner, you'll send these loving wishes to your father, to your grandparents, to your teachers, whom you have benefited so much. So let us now send our thoughts of loving kindness to this first group of people. Now let us send our thoughts of loving kindness to our immediate family members. You think of your spouse, your children, your grandchildren. And if you don't have an immediate family of your own, to your brothers and sisters, to your nephews and nieces. You can send loving kindness to them in a group or one by one, making use of the 4 wishes. Now let us imagine that all beings around the world are gathered around us and they have assumed the human form. So let us now send our thoughts of loving kindness to all the beings in the forward direction. All beings in the forward direction, may your heart be peaceful and free. May your mind be happy. May your body be healthy. May you be well and happy. Beings in the rightward directions, may your heart be peaceful and free. May your mind be happy. May your body be healthy. May you be well and happy. Beings in the backward direction, beings in the leftward direction, beings in the downward direction, beings in the upward direction, beings in all directions throughout the world, let us make some aspirations. By the grace of these merits that we have accumulated, may we not follow the way of the foolish. May we be blessed with wise friends and skillful teachers. May we always remain on the path of Dharma wherever we are, and may we one day achieve the highest place of Nibbana. Imena punya kamena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yavanibana patiya. Let us make a closing invocation. O Buddha, my spiritual master and refuge, thank you for the blessings, guidance, and protection. The Dhamma, holy saints and spiritual teachers, bodhisattvas, Dhamma protectors and devas, thank you for the blessings, guidance, and protection. May the Buddha be at my head, the Dhamma in my heart, and the Sangha by my side to guide and protect them always. Let's say sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.